Carbon X2 is described as long-range weaponry, but could you run a half marathon in them? Today, let's explore the Hoka Carbon X2. Hey, what's poppin'? Jordan Thomas here. I hope you and yours are staying safe wherever you are. Listen, today we're going to be talking about running faster. I'm excited to talk about a racing shoe. Today I'll be talking about the Hoka Carbon X2. We'll just say Carbon X2 going forward. That is a very long name. And I'm getting ready for like a half marathon effort. I'm not necessarily sure if I'm gonna call it a full-on race yet, but my team is organizing something pretty cool and I'm gonna run a 13-mile effort. And so I'm testing out shoes and I'm trying to figure out what would be right for a half marathon. And so fortunately, I've got a good relationship with Hoka, had them send me over a pair, and I wanna share my experience in these shoes. Let's begin with the overall design. These are about as clean as Dr. Ray's gloves from Drumline. This gray and white, and it's almost white on white. I'm impressed with Hoka is doing in terms of starting to branch out now and actually just start to include a lot more neutrals, as well as offering some of the bright color options. For a guy like myself that kind of likes to be a little bit more subtle and reserved in the way that I choose my colors, having something like this definitely attracted me over to the shoe. The upper is very lightweight. The material is like super porous. And also like the fact that towards the front, it's a lot more breathable, but as you get towards the back, it's a little bit more supportive, a little bit more cushioned. One quick note that I would make though on the tongue, well, I do like the fact that it's bonded. The way the naming placement is a little weird. I would actually slide that up a little bit so people can see, you want to flex a little bit that you got a carbon plate racing shoe. And so naturally moving right on to the midsole, it's made of ProFly. For the midsole, I found it decently cushioned from front to back. It offers a 5mm offset, and the material is going to be made of EVA foam, which is similar to the Mach 4, but this version, I believe, is a bit firmer. When it came to the carbon plate, I recognize that it's supposed to provide responsiveness, but I felt like it just made the overall shoe rigid. When it came to like being able to move my foot kind of like this, I felt like it was locked in, and I feel like because of the plate is what was doing that, and I did not like that. One of the staples of Hoka shoes is the wide outsole with that rocker. You're going to find that these shoes, because of that, is going to offer a great level of stability, as well as the outsole in and of itself has pretty good traction as well. And so if you find yourself in like a downhill type race situation, or you just have a wider foot, this is a shoe that you would find a lot of value out of. So when it came to fit, I found these to be true to size. I went with 11.5. I found that I had a good amount of room in the toe box. I did feel like the midfoot was pretty snug. I like the way the cup and the collar and the Achilles heel cup, all of that comes together. I felt very secure. When it comes to performance, the longer you're in this shoe, honestly, it's the better. I took it out for a few different runs, beginning with a 4-mile threshold progression run. It took me a while to get to my threshold pace, which right now is about 6 minutes and 45 seconds per mile. It took me a lot longer to get there, and I used a similar route that I used the previous week in a different shoe, and so that's what I use as my measure. But I was eventually able to get there, and once I got there, I was able to stay there. And so that to me just indicates that, hey, this is going to be like a longer range option. Like I wouldn't use this for a 10K as an example, because you need to be able to get to your pace immediately and then be able to hold. Next thing I did was I took it out for more of a steady state type run. So this would be like a little bit faster than just like easier day running. I did find that I did get a nice little performance boost of about 10 to 15 seconds. So in terms of durability, I mean like 150, 200 miles, maybe. I mean, it's a racing shoe, so I don't think you need to worry necessarily about how many miles you're gonna get out of it as much as, will it perform on a race day? And you can cycle it in for a few long runs and key workouts here and there. So in terms of my overall recommendation, I think that these shoes would work well for someone that's going to do, say, a half marathon or a marathon downhill type race. I think because of the stability that it offers from left to right, as well as a decent level of cushioning, particularly in the forefoot, I think that this would give you a carbon plated option that you could feel comfortable that you're not going to tip over while you're running in a race. I believe also that if you're looking for a shoe that closely mimics a training type shoe and you just want something that's gonna give you a little bit extra on race day, I think that would be an option as well. And then the folks that I would say stay clear of this is that if you're looking for like the shoe that's gonna give you your absolute fastest option. I think there's just a number of other options out there, particularly in the carbon plated space, that can give you a little bit more. In terms of how I would suggest you use this as part of the rotation, this is going to be your race day option. I thought going into this shoe that I would recommend that you definitely get the Mach 4 and that be your 2 shoe combination. But I think there's actually a better option based off of the feel that's in this shoe. And that option is going to be the unreleased Hoka Clifton 8. The reason I say that is that this is going to give you the widest range possible in the most scenarios that you can train for pretty much anything from like a 5K through the marathon. One of the things that I find in putting together an overall rotation is that I like distinctive feels. And so yes, I want to be familiar with the way a shoe races or rides going into a race day or going into a training, but I like my training shoes to feel like training shoes and my race day option to feel like a racing option. And so I think that with these two shoes, you'll feel the greatest difference in what a training shoe feels like, a little bit more heavy, a little bit more robust, and then you like strip down to something like this, and this is the shoe that you go off. Well, I do think the Carbon X2 is strong enough for the half marathon. I would stick to the marathon and above in these shoes. Let me know in the comments. You got any races, time trials, just faster efforts in general coming up? If you want to check out something else running related, check this out. And if you want to check something else out, go with this one. I'll see you next time. Jordan Thomas.